One of the most outstanding professional human beings on this big round rock of earth. Please give a warm welcome to KIP CAIRO.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Dear city, my home, consider this a love letter, a wedding vow, profession of faith, song of thanks and praise. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. But consider this a dear John as well. A stated request to terminate our time together. A severance. A plea to part ways. Should ever I leave thee, let me list the reasons why. Dear city, my home, I love you for your singing voice, your sound of dirges slowly rolling in from around the corner with the tide of proud and solemn cheers, send-offs to departed souls, Cato, Antoinette, Tootie, tuba fats. The staccato steps of bottle caps attached to heels of black kids in the French quarters. Super Sunday beneath the interstate. The call and clamor of big chiefs and skeletons. Spy boys and tambourines. Artillery drums ricocheting off the concrete ceiling that is the Claiborne overpass. Your sound of marches, hymns, and second lines. The storied din of winning teams who finally won, being welcomed back. Choruses of long-saved yorps unleashed to celebrate the fact that for once, we are the ones who reign supreme. Choruses of car horn honks looped and circling the statue of Robert E. Lee. Your sound of even good old boys, raising high their Pim's corpse in galatoires, giving it their seersuckered best to get crunk. Your sound of high school bands, high-stepping to Casanova, blowing back the crowded streets, of 44 bagpipes crying like cats outside the pub at the end of the block, belting out Old Lang Syne on a day when all is green. The clatter made by barbecue pits strapped to the backs of bicycles, the chatter at a front yard crawfish boil, where everyone is speaking, no one is listening, and the only one minding is the one who isn't from here. Your sound of Spanish moss in midsummer, sagging closer to the ground, dripping flamenco, ducks haggling 2-year-olds for pieces of bread in City Park, beads of sweat atop sun-scarred heads, headed across the bayou, led by an invisible Pied Piper toward a mashup of music. Dear city, my home, I love you for your singing voice, but it's being drowned out by phantom plans, divisive rhetoric, pathetic excuses of those elected in charge. I adore you for your singing voice, but it's being outsung by the sound of sirens chasing after all the something's wrong. You have a magnificent singing voice, but it's being outdrummed by the sound of gunshots, 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 gunshots. On the 500 block of South Telemachus Street, on the 1300 block of North Durbany Street, on the corner of North Galvez and Piety, on the 1900 block of Harmony. Dear city, my home, we are your sons and daughters, a people born with a greater thirst for revelry than any other. Sure, perhaps possessing at times a little more loyalty than sound judgment. But we fit together with another city, like a piano in a swimming pool, broken glass and bicycles, poetry at a rodeo, hot cups of coffee on a pogo stick, Valium and amphetamines, David and the Philistine. We are staunch believers in throwing rocks at giants. We are long-time lovers of unwanted dogs. Are we stupid? Or are we just resilient? The future will decide, I suppose. A little over 5 years ago, some of us swore we'd never be back. You mocked us. You laughed. You said we'd all be back again. That the question wasn't if, but when. Eventually, we returned. But some of us resigned. And some of us reneged. For good this time. Forever. We all know someone who took a bullet thanks to you. Dear city, my home. We measure time by dances, laughter, empty cocktail cups. We tell the seasons by the festival. We threw away our watches a long time ago. We'll get there together one day, we say, and shrug. Because if we don't, no bother. It's the thought that counts. You see, we, your sons and daughters, are afraid of change, of moving forward, of taking risky steps towards something more rewarding. Dear city, my home, I am conflicted, undecided. I am torn on the fence between being born and raised And until I die here, I will know what it means to miss New Orleans. And needing to leave you once and for all. A jazz funeral and a jet plane. Dear city, my home, I cannot escape you. To live inside you is to wake up every morning donning a concrete suit, anchors for shoes. You bleed the color of rust in D minor. You haven't changed a bit. You look the same. Another murder 3 blocks away, home invasion the night before. Would you want your grandkids to grow up here? I sometimes wish you'd go up in a glorious fireworks display. Until I realized that we'd still all be back someday to pick up the pieces, to wipe off the soot. Dearest city, my dearest home, if I could, I would dip every bullet that lives in this town into one giant mound of powdered sugar. And then I'd scoff every single one of them down. You should hear me brag about you when you're not around. You have magic in your hair, craters in your face. And I love you for your crescent shape in all your potholed glory. I love you for your singing voice. It all comes back to that singing voice. My dearest city, my dearest home, you are built on soggy ground. Your houses stand uneven. They lean just as the spirits residing inside of them do. Some say you are sinking. Some think you will drown. Instead, let us amend our ways. Let us modify. You can be the new Lazarus. And we, you're born and raised, can be born to raise. Dear city, dear home, all the talk has been laid out about tomorrow, 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 tomorrow. How about today? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only KIP CAIRO.